Okay, so good afternoon, all of you. So today in this session, I'm going to discuss about the consensus algorithm in blockchain technology. And in the session, I'll discuss the systematic review and the challenges. And also before that, I'll discuss some basic concept about the blockchain technology. And with the blockchain technology, what basically blockchain technology issues and and is it visible? Is the slides are visible?
Yes, sir.
Is the slide is visible to all?
Your screen is visible, sir.
Okay, so now I'll discuss the blockchain technology, why blockchain technology is required, and what are the main pillars of the blockchain technology, what language we are going to use and we are using in a blockchain technology, what are the available platforms in the for a blockchain technology, what are the advantage, where we can use, where we cannot use, which platform we can use, and architecture of the blockchain technology. And then after that I'll come to the consensus algorithm. So my first thing is, this was the traditional online transaction. In the traditional online transaction, if you will see that, so two parties are there. One party is sending the money and another party is receiving the money. In the example it is given that, let's say that $10,000. In that case, what in the traditional online transaction, what was happening when the one party was sending the amount, then what was happening that there was a third party which was a trusted party, and that trusted party will ensure that the amount will be credited to the next party to whom you are going to send the money. So what it was doing, it was validating the entries. Now it provides a security to us. Now preserves historic records. That means it was recording the log files. After that, but in this entire process, what was the drawback actually? So what was happening? This was an expensive task. Why expensive task? The third party was doing some charge. It was asking for some charge or some money. Then after that, another is third party is involved, everything it has to verify. Then what will happen? Then the transaction speed will be slow. Now there may be a chance that there can be a fraud, that in between the sender and receiver and the third party. So these were the issues in the online transaction. So as per the record, that with the literature survey, what is there? So issues, there was a, but here if you'll see that this is a centralized party. Trusted third party is a centralized authority. That centralized authority has a some issue. What is that? That high transaction cost. So JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Allo earned more than $6 billion from ATM and transaction fees in 2019. Now you can assume that how much charge the trusted companies or the trusted parties are taking from us. And another problem is a double spending. Buying transaction are prone to double spending. Okay, so third one is a centralized. Failure of a central server leads to no transaction process. You will be able to identify that now the centralized party or the trusted party has failed. So due to that, you will not be able to transfer the money from one. And bank contains the ledger which may crash or prone to hack. So that can be changed. Fraud can be occur. So these are the problem with the centralized system. So that's why what happens, ledger system came. In the ledger system, what it does, what it stores. So ledger records all business activity as transaction, and after the storing of all the transactions, then it becomes a database log file maintenance. So every market everywhere in the network that defines a ledger. So ledger record as asset transfer between the participants. But problem is what? If everyone will have a every party will have a ledger, then in that case too many ledgers will be there. Every market nowadays has its ledger. Every organization has its own ledger. Now I'll show you the example. Now here you can see that it will be more clear to you. So what is that? You see that corporate clients are there, finance departments are there, underwriting third party services are there, outsource service providers are there, branch side, ATM, international banks, e-banking. So you can see that so many organizations are here. Now what is going to happen? So these markets are connected with the customers, suppliers, banks, and consumers. So these are the parties which are involved to make a market. So in that case, what will happen? These all parties are connected to each other, and they market organize a trades. Now market is going to do the some transaction in terms of monetary, in terms of product, in terms of other things. So these markets can be a public or it can be a private. So that means private means for a specific group of people can do the transaction, that is a private, and then the public, it is open for all one. That nowadays, let's say that Big Bazaar and other retailers, the other companies are giving this facility. So in that case, what will happen if we are following the laser? So everyone will have its own laser. So in the laser, so monetary our product in terms of quantity will be there. So that values comes from the assets. So assets can be physical assets or virtual assets, or service are also assets. If you are, let's say that for example, a cloud, you are going to access the service from the cloud, then what? Sorry, then you have to do the some transaction. So what you have to do? So in that case, transaction exchange the assets. So now what is going to happen? So you see that in this case, every party now, as per this diagram, so everyone will have its own ledger. So if it will have its own ledger, then what will happen? So every party will keep its own ledger and state now problem, incidents, and faults. What is that? And diverging ledgers. So now let's say that there may be an inconsistency can be arise in between, or let's say that Bob and Alice both are sharing its ledger to each other. In between there is a communication link which is unreliable. Now what will happen in that case? Any attacker can come which can edit the ledger. Then in that case, what will happen? Alice has sent a ledger A. In the original ledger there was something else. Now after the modification, something else will be recorded in the ledger, and that will be received on the top time. Then what will happen? Same thing will happen for a ledger B, which Alice is going to receive that. In that case, again, what will happen? There is an inconsistency problem. Now they will start the blaming. In that case, what you can see that as I'm discussing the problem, can we store permanently assets globally with the trust? Can we trust on a single party? No, we cannot trust. And single ownership? No, we cannot give. Identity management, easy transfer to asset, create the illusion of a single global computer. Now, after these problems, what happens that the solutions came. Now, what was the first solution? So to give that solution, given that as a distributed database management system to store the things at the different nodes. So various companies came like Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server, NoSQL database. So other companies came to provide the service. Now what happens in that case? Again, we are going to trust on the centralized party, which is the centralized party, and in that again the problem remains same. What is that? Consistency problem you have removed using this one, distributed DBMS. Now, but the problem remains same, that the centralized authority, whether we should believe to the centralized authority or not. Let's say that the cloud, or let's say that real example cloud or Amazon. Amazon has established the server on a different specific areas like Asia, in a different places. Now you are sending a request to access some service, so how you can assure that Amazon will not be a bias for a specific service, for a specific distributor? Okay, to ensure that, okay, this is the problem, biasing can be there. So that's why centralized authority or centralization will be a first problem for us still remain. Now, what about the complexity? So the only centralized authority is there. So everything will be stored there, and so many encryption or decryption algorithm you will employ there, okay, to secure your asset. Now, what about if you are going to access that service from the specific centralized authority, then they will charge more. And how you can trust that data on the database company. So now based on that, again, to avoid this problem, what happens that the blockchain came in a picture. In a blockchain came in a picture. Now what happens, rather than the centralized authority, now the concept is you share the ledger among your group of nodes, that is a network. So what will happen in that case? So one common trusted ledger is there. Today often implemented by a centralized intermediary. Blockchain creates one single ledger for all parties. Now you see that here, now centralized, nothing will be centralized. Everyone will be the owner for the ledger. So same copy of the ledger will be available to everyone. So if anyone will do any mistake, that will not be a immutable. Okay. So replicated and produced collaboratively, trust in ledger from cryptographic protection and distributed validation. So you see in the diagram what is there for on a specific time. If you are going to do any transaction, let's say that first block, then in that case what will happen? Alice, Bob, Charlie, Dave, Avi, Frank, anyone is wants to do any transaction, then what happens? The transaction first it has to validate from the other nodes which are the miners. Then after the validation, that the transaction will be committed and the block will be generated, and then block will be added in the network. Now after that, if any another transaction will be done by the any another node, then also it will be added, and the copy of the ledger will be shared to everyone. Then in that case, it is a transparent to everyone. Everyone will see that how much amount of money is available with which user, or the how much quantity in the supply chain management is available, so that you can place the order, or you can validate the order, or you can validate the transaction. So now for an example, you see that now first one is a logistic. So in the logistic, what you can do, you can see that real-time visibility. Now what happens in the current scenario, if anything you have transported from one place to another place, then what happens online? What we have to do, we have to trace that. Sometimes what happens that the item has transported from one place to another place, but that party has not updated yet. In that case, you will not be able to trace the records. Now what happens in this case with the use of blockchain technology, that all parties, there is a restriction that all parties after the transmission, the transmission or the transaction will be allowed from one place to another place, or the item will be shipped from one place to another place, if already the block is validated and the transaction is recorded in the block, then it will be allowed to transfer from one place to another place. As soon as it will receive on the another place, again it will be updated. Then what will happen? Everyone can see that what is going on and where the particular item is at which place. So because so many parties are involved in the logistic nowadays, so that's why blockchain will simplify the complexity of transactions. So what is the advantage? So real-time visibility is there, improved efficiency will also improve, transparency and verifiability will be improved, reduce the cost. Now another application, you can see that the property records. Nowadays what happens, if you want to register your property in the office, so what you can do that, you have to go to the office, then you have to take some paper, you have to give them, then after some time you have to again trace that multiple times, you have to go, and then some people can say that now we have passed the file, but file is on another table, then again you have to go physically to the another table. So now this kind of problem will consume your time and effort, but you are not getting an output. Another thing, someone can forge, with the forge, someone can create the uh, duplicate paper or wrong paper of your property, then in that case, there will be a problem. So to avoid such kind of situation, if we will implement the blockchain, then what will happen? Everything will be available digitally. If anyone is going to change anything, then it can be recorded and then it can be identifiable who has done what changes and where the file, where I have to register my property. Now the property file is where, on which table, with which person. Okay, so these are the things you can get by applying the blockchain in the property record. So digital, it is a digital and unforgeable and fewer disputes. Now transparency and verifiability. Now lower transfer fees, because no need to give the fees physically to everyone. Okay, now after that, that more complex transaction is that is a capital market. In the capital market, it will improve also that transfer settlement time. Now
Hello, sir.
anything you have purchased, any share you have purchased, then after that you have to sell that. Then later on, what will happen? It will take some time, and then again you have to inquire that whether the transaction has done or not. So in this case, what will happen with the blockchain? If you have this much amount of share, you have sold this much amount of share, so automatically the party which has, who is going to purchase the share, so automatically those parties will make the transaction to settle the amount against the uh, share purchase. So, and it will increase credit availability based on your record, and transparency and verifiability. It is easy to verify that whether the amount has received uh, by the purchase, by the owner or not, and the reconciliation cost. So these are the basic complex applications where we can employ the blockchain technology, okay, for blockchain technology to simplify the transactions. Now, these are the basic and the pillars of the blockchain. So first one is a replicated ledger, second is a cryptography part, third one is a consensus, and fourth one is a business logic. So cryptography part, the yesterday in last 2 days, the Professor Raju Haldar has already discussed. So now here you see which part, what has been done by which part. So replicated ledger, history of all transaction stores, append only with immutable past, distributed and replicated data. Now cryptography, integrity of ledger, it contains authenticity of transaction, privacy of transaction, identity of participants. So these are the roles of the cryptography. Now with the consensus algorithm, what it does, it follows the decentralized protocol and shared control tolerating disruption, transaction validation. Now after that, the business logic, which will be you can say that business logic you can implement with a smart contract also. So logic embedded in the ledger, executed together with the transaction. So from simple coins to self-enforcing smart contracts. So from here, all pillars, you can identify that in which area you want to work in your research actually. Now you see that why we are going towards the blockchain. So you see that all the papers, how it is going to increase. So in 2013 blockchain, that it has 2 paper was there. In 2014 that 9 paper was there. Then after that in 2015 it is increasing 37. Now 2016 you see that 174. Now 2017 780, then 2018 2394, now 2019 mid we have calculated that was 1424. So now total 4820. So basically our motive is to show that the application of blockchain is increasing, which motivates us to work in this area, okay, with the different pillars in the blockchain technology. So others are, you can see also that some like a WSN security, you can see that the core research in the 2013, that the paper was 11,006, now 10,000. So sometimes it is increasing, sometimes it is decreasing. So the meaning is the some part, the core research is saturated. So what we can do with the new technology, we can make some hybrid solution. Then the paper will be published, or the new research area will be for researchers. So now, what are the blockchain variants actually? So blockchain has some properties are there for a variant. So public blockchain is there, consortium blockchain is there, and private blockchain is there. So consensus determination, that blockchain, so all can be a minor. Consortium blockchain, there is a selected. Why I'm showing this slide? Because before selecting the blockchain variants for the application, you have to focus that for which application you are going to take which blockchain. So for that, as per your requirement, you can identify that and then you can select that. So consensus determination, so all can be a minor. Now in the second one, consortium blockchain, selected one, and private, one organization can be the part. And immutability possible to tamper in a public blockchain, but consortium blockchain can be tempered, and in another one that is also can be tempered. So public blockchain, that with the immutable property. Consensus process, permissionless, permission and permission. Read permission is in a public blockchain, that is a public. Consortium blockchain, that is a restricted to public or for a specific group of nodes or the people. And in the private blockchain, same thing also. Efficiency, so public blockchain is low, consortium blockchain high, and private blockchain also high. So if you are working towards the improve the efficiency, so then you have to think about the consortium blockchain or the private blockchain. In centralized, there is a public chain, no centralization. Consortium partially, because there are some authority. And then private, yes, because that is a private, one party is there who is controlling all the nodes which are present in the network. Now after this, so various layers are there in the blockchain architecture. So these layers will give the idea in which layer you want to work for your research work. So first, if you see that the first one is a data layer. So in the data layer, asymmetric, that means cryptographic things you have to address here. So asymmetric cryptography, hash function, Merkle tree to store the nodes and the blocks, timestamp, chain structure, and data block. If in these area you want to work, so you have to work on the data layer. Now for those researchers who work in the network layer, that can also work for the peer-to-peer network, communication mechanism, verification mechanism. Now third one is a consensus layer, that is a proof of work, proof of stack, practical Byzantine fault, delegated proof of stack, Ripple, Byzantine fault tolerance, and POET, okay, estimated time. So after that, incentive layer. So incentive layers means the issuance mechanism and allocation mechanism. Third one is next one is a contract layer, which script coding algorithm and smart contract. These are the things which work. Now main part, that is a application part where most of the researcher wants to work. What is that? IoT. Now intellectual property, healthcare domain, digital identity, smart city, business applications. So these are the things. Now after
Sir,
that,
sorry for interrupting. Sir,
sorry.
can you please zoom in the slides, sir? The diagrams are seem very small way. Can you just zoom in for us, sir, please?
It is not visible.
It is very small.
Okay, just wait. Now is it visible?
Yes, sir. Surely in a much better way. Thank you, sir.
So after that, the next part is a smart contract. So basically, I'm just discussing about the one slide I kept just for the introductory part. So in the smart contract, so a contract which covers a common terms, data, rules, concept definition, and a process. So contracts lay out the business model that governs all. Contracts lay out on the business model that govern all of the interactions between transaction parties. So different contracts are available for general use. So what we can do, Ethereum smart contract and Hyperledger chain code we can do. Okay. So in this example, what we are trying to show that there are two parties. One is a buyer, another is a seller. Okay, so what happens that the buyer is going to purchase a car with the specific instructions, okay, which that the color and the model of the car, those are the property you can keep in the update part. Transfer part can be what we will transfer, that seller will sell the car to the buyer. So two parties will be involved here, buyer and seller, and then the car. So what will happen? So query, as a buyer will give the query to the car, and then it will get the car. So basically these are the things how to write the smart contract using the Ethereum or Hyperledger chain code. In the Hyperledger fabric, if you'll see that pluggable framework consensus algorithm is used. So that means it's up to you, okay, what you are whether you are going to follow the proof of work, whether you want to add something from your side, so you can do that. Now the languages, why you will select which language for an application. So smart contract languages, to write a smart contract, the languages are, first one is a C++, JavaScript, Python, Golang, Solidity, Remix, and Truffle. So these are the languages which you will use to write a smart contract on the various platform. So some advantages are there. What are that? It's a independent and multi-platform, statically type, high speed, but it is a complex, difficult to debug, not very easy to learn, and garbage collection not supported. JavaScript, that is more familiar, researchers are familiar with this JavaScript rather than, so it is a object oriented, prototype based, support functional programming. What is a disadvantage? Dynamic. Sometimes it will be advantage, sometimes it will be disadvantage also. Interpretation depends on the browsers. Anyone can view the code. Python works on different platforms. That is a main advantage. Windows, Mac, Linux, Raspberry Pi, others for IoT applications. So that is, syntax allows developers to write programmers with fewer lines compared to others. Run in an interpreter system, meaning prototyping can be very quick. So, but some disadvantage. What is that? Mostly used as server language, not too smart smart context. Libraries are not always documented in enough way. Golang compilation time is very fast. Programs are simple, concise, safe, super strongly typed, scalable, garbage collection. And the disadvantage, not very easy to learn, do not have many package, syntax is not clear for some developers, very young language community, and community is not that big as other popular language. Solidity, which most of the blockchain that blockchain developers are using, that provides inheritance properties in contract, statically typed, easy to learn. And disadvantage, young language. So support is smaller, not universal, used in Ethereum only, uses in complicated standard library, not available. And Remix online IDE for Solidity smart contract, complete tool for writing a Solidity. We didn't find that disadvantage. Truffle popular framework for developing a apps. Now you see the basically tools. We took only some tools, okay, for developing an application. That what Remix, Ganche, MyEtherWallet, GetEdge, and Hyperledger. So configure the blockchain. If you want to configure that, so Remix, Ganche, MyEtherWallet, it does not provide the facility to configure to do the configuration part. Now GetEdge and Hyperledger provides that. Deploy the blockchain, not very persistent in Remix, but Ganche provides that. MyEtherWallet does not provide that. GetEdge, Hyperledger provides. Develop a smart contract. So Remix, it provides that, and it is easy. GetEdge and Hyperledger also. Here you can deploy that, develop and deploy. Compile the contract in Remix, GetEdge, and Hyperledger. So similarly, you can see that. So some platforms which provides some activity but not provides all the activities. But you see that GetEdge and the Hyperledger provides all the activity which we want to do. That's why we are going to, or we are using the Hyperledger mostly to develop an application in a blockchain technology. So now some use cases where we can use the blockchain. So what is that market? For what purpose? Where we can deploy this? Where we can do the project? So for billing, monitoring, and data transfer in the market. Quota management is supply chain network. Now government sector, where we can deploy, where we can write a project, that transactional personalized governance services, voting, proposition peer-to-peer bond, digitization of document, contract and proof of ownership for transfer, registry and identify, tele-attorney services, IP registration and exchange, tax receipt notary service, and document registry. So these are the area where we can think about in the government sector. And for IoT, agriculture and drone area sensor network, we can work. Smart home network, we can work on that. Integrated smart city, where we can work. Smart home sensors, we can work. Now self-driving cars, we can work. Personalized robotic component, personalized drones, digital assistants. So these are the things, these are the some area where we can work with the blockchain. Now some other areas. Now in a health sector, for what purpose you can use? Data management. Universe EMR health data banks, big health data stream to analyze. Digital health wallet, smart property, health token, personal development contracts. And for science and art, supercomputer, crowd analysis, peer-to-peer resources, digital mind fit services. And for banking and finance sector, so digital currency, payment and remittance, declared capital market, using a network of computer on blockchain, interdimensional, and clearing and trading, derivatives, bookkeeping. So these are the areas where you can apply the blockchain to manage, and for what purpose you can apply the blockchain. So these are the things about the use cases. Now you see the actual problem where you can work in which area. So IoT. So in the IoT, so IoT means why it is known as IoT, why it is known as a Internet of Things. If let's say that, why it is not at Internet of mobile, Internet of computer, Internet of laptop, Internet of smart meter, not like that. Why Internet of Things? The thing is, on the network, different kind of devices are available which are connected to through the internet to each other. But the thing is, these internet devices are sending a different type of data in different formats. So if different format, that will not be a common format, then it will become a thing. Later on, it can be converted in a specific format. So for that, what you can do, so for different devices, that identity, where the identity management is a problem. Who is sending the data? How you can trace that? How you can hide that? For example, I can tell you that, let's say that if you are moving with the mobile from one place to another place, in that case, what will happen? You want to hide your identity, but you will not be able to hide the identity if anyone to trace that. So with the network, it can easy to trace that where you are available. Okay, so that is identity management with the location. So how you can do that? Access management, which file you want to access that, and how those files will be accessible for what kind of users. Denial of service attack, low power, high increase of number of devices. These are the problems in the IoT field where you can apply the blockchain. Medical and healthcare, patient data, fingerprint, iris print, okay, genomics, if shared and modified. So how you will ensure that in a medical field? I can discuss one thing, that in the medical field, what happens, let's say that at the age of 10, any person became a patient with some disease. He or she was ill for some disease, then went to the hospital and registered with the hospital, and then took some prescription from the doctor, and with the treatment, the person, he or she has fine. Now everything has been done with the pen and paper. Later on, what will happen after 20 years? Let's say that some problem has arisen. In that case, if you want to trace the history of the previous record, you will not be able to trace the history. Why? Because very less people stores all the data of the file for a future work. Now the patient thinks that now the part has done, okay, now no need to store that, you can throw it, now it is useless for me, but later on it can be useful. Now what happens in that case? Let's say that you are moving from one place to another place. Now in that case, what will happen? Let's say that you kept a data, you kept a hard file with yourself, and you moved from one place to another place. Let's say that from Bangalore to Delhi. Now you want to show the medical history to the doctor to take the treatment. Now what happens? In between, you have lost your paper. Then what will happen? You will not be able to share your history. So now what you can think, now in the foreign countries, what they are doing, that all the hospitals will share own records with another hospital with some restrictions. Now in that case, what will happen? Everything will become a paperless. Now what will happen? So if a people will move from one place to another place, so in that case it will be easy to detect that where is the file and what is the medical history that will be accessible by the hospital where you are going. Now let's say that you are in the same hospital, then what will happen? No need to carry anything. What happens? The doctor will generate your prescription, and it will send. Then what will happen? Every department is connected in the blockchain. Then what will happen? Then you will go to the particular department, then easily with your identification number, that department will identify that what test has been recommended by the doctor. Then with that one, what will happen? Doctor can trace that, and then what will happen? Test will be done. Let's say that after that, again the report has generated. Report will be sent to the doctor, concerned doctor. Doctor can write the prescription to the medical store directly. You will go to the medical store, and with your identity only, you will get all the you can say that all the medicines. Let's say that you are covered with the medical with the insurance company. Then what will happen? Sometimes it's a very difficult and tedious job to settle the bills with the insurance company. In that case, what will happen? With the insurance company, what it can does? It can directly see all the medical history from the blockchain what treatment has done, how much cost of the total treatment, and then directly it can settle from the hospital. So blockchain in the medical and healthcare data, it is a very prominent field where the researcher can work. Financial fraud due to wrong coding in a smart contract, demonetization, man in the middle attack, these are the problem in the financial, where you can apply the blockchain. Supply chain management also, so tracing national and international clients, insurance sectors, as I am telling you. So now after doing this, so research area, now will come to the core point, that is a consensus algorithm. So consensus means, as per the name, what is a consensus? Consensus means, let's say that, very simple words, we can say that, let's say that we have a one database. We have a one database, we have a multiple users. In the multiple users, what happens that we are going to give the right access to some users, but not all users. In that case, what will happen in the network, what we have to do, we have to ask to all the users, because that property is the everyone contributed to store the data in the database. So data of everyone is available there. So what will happen? So we have to take a consensus, we have to take the permission from all them. Those who are the trusted parties or trusted stakeholders, those will get the right access to write something in a database. But what happens? Some of the users will not say that these users should get the right permission. Some users can say that no, it is not allowed. I will be the user who will have a right access, not that one. So this kind of things can be, so no one is coming on a common agreement. So in that case, what will happen? There is a problem with the consensus. Okay, no one is agree. So in that case, what happens? So various algorithms has been given where consensus can be arise based on some method. So what will happen? So in that case, the algorithm can work in the networks. Why? Because some can be agree, some cannot be the agree. So how we can make them, how we can come to the common agreement? So in that case, what is the consensus? So consensus is a dynamic way of reaching agreement in a network, while voting just settles for a majority rules without any thought for feeling and well-being of the minority. A consensus, on the other hand, makes sure that an agreement is reached, which could benefit the entire network as whole. A consensus can be used by a group of people scattered around the world to create more equal and fair society. A method by which consensus decision making is achieved called a consensus algorithm. So what is a consensus algorithm? May refers to one of the several proposed protocols for solving the consensus problem in the field of blockchain. So what is a problem? So basic problem in the consensus is, it is basically deals with reaching to a common agreement, because it may be possible that different nodes may not agree to some transaction happening in the network. In that case, consensus problem will be there. So that to make some common agreement, there are some methods. So two methods are there, basically, that traditional algorithms are there, another is a current or present algorithm. So what traditional, we'll see in the coming slides. Before that, why consensus? So a blockchain is decentralized peer-to-peer system with no central authority. Then if no central authority, then what will happen? Everyone wants to become everyone wants to become a owner of the network. So to run the network. So while this creates a system that is free from the corruption from the single source, but still creates a major problem. What I said, that how are any decision made? Who is going to make the decision? How decision anything get done? So with the distributed network, even it has a problem. So consensus mechanism gives us the blockchain network to attain reliability and build a level of trust between different nodes while ensuring security in the environment. This is the reason why it is one of the vital part of every blockchain development application and the project in the distributed ledger environment. It provides a reliability and the trust. Now, you see that unified agreement, align economic incentives, fair and equitable, prevent double spending and fault tolerant. So unified agreement, the of consensus mechanism is attaining unified agreement. So it is not like a centralized system where having a trust on the authority is necessary. Why we should trust on the centralized authority? Users can operate even without building a trust. How? On each other with a decentralized mechanism. So the protocol embedded in a distributed blockchain network ensures that the data involved in the process is true, accurate, and the status of the public ledger is up to date. Now, align economic incentive. Why the other nodes will participate in the network? Why I'll say that? Why I'll vote that who is going to become the owner, whether the transaction is validated, verified or not? Why I should verify? So during that time, some economic incentive should be there. So that's during the building a trustless system that regulates on its own, aligning the interest of participants in the network is must. A blockchain consensus protocol in this situation offered a reward for good behavior and punish for the bad actors. So if that means who will participate actively in the network and help to the other nodes to do the transaction, those nodes will be benefited in terms of money, in terms of computation cost, in terms of storage, in terms of other weight. And another is a fair and equitable. Now, consensus mechanism enable anyone to participate in the network using the same basics. This way, it justifies the open source and decentralization property of the blockchain system. Prevent double spending. Consensus mechanism work on the basis of the certain algorithm that ensures that only those transactions are included in the public transparent ledger which are verified and valid. Without verification, the transaction will not be added. So automatically the double spending will not be there. So this solves the traditional problem of a double spending. The problem was spending a digital currency twice, fault tolerance. So consensus method ensures that blockchain is a fault tolerant, consistent and reliable. That means the governed system would work indefinite times even in the case of failure and threats. So like a Byzantine fault tolerance. Properties. What should be the property of good blockchain consensus mechanism? So safety. So in that case, all the nodes are capable of generating a result that are valid according to the rules of protocol or not. The consensus algorithm, you have to ensure that, you have to think that inclusive, every node should participate in the network with equal right of voting. Participatory, a consensus mechanism where all nodes actively participate and contribute to updating database on blockchain is called a good consensus model. Equality, another trait of a good mechanism is that it gives equal value and weight to everyone vote received from the node. So if let's say that if you are not selecting a good consensus algorithm, then what will happen? In that case, blockchain fork will be there. So choosing a poor blockchain consensus method increasing the vulnerability of chain. One such vulnerability that is faced by the blockchain enthusiasts and developers is blockchain fork. So that means longest blockchain or multiple roots can be there in the blockchain. So multiple chains, that means. Blockchain forks in layman language is situation or circumstances under which a single chain diverges. So multiple diversion will be there. Poor performance, when a bad consensus mechanism considered, either a node get malfunction or suffer from network partition. This delays the process of exchanging message between nodes and increase the latency of the application, which ultimately lower down the performance level. consensus failure will be there. Incorporating a bad consensus mechanism to your business model is a consensus failure. Now, so application of a consensus algorithm. So you can see that cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, data communication, which can be work as in synchronous network mode or asynchronous network. Future scope, as we have discussed, that IoT, healthcare, finance, and then consensus algorithm. As per the application, you can work in any area. So now some just summary I am trying to show that. Okay, so some cryptocurrency, which cryptocurrency uses which consensus algorithm. So this is the things you can just go through once. Now see what is going to this picture is what this picture says actually in the traditional consensus algorithm, traditional history, what it says actually. This is very popular one. So with this diagram, what it says that what it says that basically, let's say that there are three people in this diagram, which is A, B, and C. Now we are going to talk about the consensus problem, how consensus problem can arise. So what is that? Let's say that A and B are the two person who, and C is also another person. Now the structure is like a mountain. So what is happening in this case? You can see that the A and B wants to attack on C. Why? Because C is an enemy, and C is seated on the top of the mountain, and A and B are on the different side of the mountain. Now what is going to happen? Let's say that if A and B will attack, like a contract, your condition is there. What is that? A and B will attack on C. If both combinedly, then only they can defeat the enemy C. But individually, if A will attack on C, then what will happen in that case? Then A cannot defeat C. And if B will attack individually, then again B will not defeat C. And the thing is, if A and B wants to meet to each other, then in that case, what it has to do? A has to go to B through via C. So now in this case, A and B cannot meet to each other. Now the question arises. What is the question? That how an A and B will ensure that we are going to attack at the same time. So in that case, what will happen? Let's say that A and B has to attack together to C. Otherwise, what will happen? Defeat. So let's say that A has decided the time of attack, and A has sent the message to B. Now what happens? B replies in the same manner to A. If consensus reached, then only they will attack. So but you think one condition is there. A and B are linked with the unreliable link. The communication pattern based on the unreliable link. So in that case, what will happen? A is sending a message to B. Now B does not send a response to A within a time frame. Within a time frame means that is a part of the contract. Then in that case, what will happen? Result become inconsistent. Even A got the message, but later on. In that case, what will happen? That means consensus did not matched. Then again, but A still wants to attack on C. So in that case, what will happen? The failure will occur. A will be defeated by C. Now, let's say that A and B successfully communicates with each other, but communication link, as I said, unreliable. So how B is knowing that A has sent the message to B, but whether that is reliable or not? So in that case, what will happen? B will think that this is not a, that means the message has sent by the B. How B will ensure itself that message has not tampered. Then same thing will happen for A also. Then what will happen? To know the whether the message is tampered or not, how A will know that? If B has given a reply to A, now how A will know that whether the message is tampered or not? Then again there is a problem. So in that case, what will happen? Infinite. So what do you think? A and B will come to on the common consensus, common agreement that now we have to attack on a C? No. So A is thinking, A is sending, now B is not relying. B is sending something, then A is not relying. So in that case, what will happen? This is going to be in infinite loop of exchanging message, but never reach to the consensus algorithm. So this is the problem, general problem, based on that, this traditional history, that the meaning is here, the person means these are the three nodes in the network. So all three nodes, A wants to do something, some transaction A wants to do. Now B is going to verify that. Okay, whether B will verify whether B is a trusted node or not. How you will ensure that? Okay, if the nodes are connected, whether the link is reliable link or not, the message is encrypted or not. So that's why the cryptographic parts are involved to make the message that the foolproof. Now, based on that, another problem came, that is a Byzantine general problem. That is a second problem in the consensus. So what is this? Is basically actually extended version of two general problems. What is that? Where two node communicates to each other with unreliable channel, can never reach to consensus because both will not believe to each other. So now in the Byzantine general problem, what happens that they have given us some extended version of two general problem. So what is that? If more than two nodes considered in a Byzantine general problems helps to reach a common agreement between different nodes present in the network, then some node act as a maliciously. For example, let's say that there is an army. In the army, one commander is there and two lieutenants are there. Now what is happened? Commander has sent a request that, okay, attack. So what will happen? Lieutenant 1 and 2 has received the message. At the same time, what happens? After that, Lieutenant 2 has sent a message, that message retreat. Okay, then what will happen? In that case, that means here three nodes are there. So one node is sending a request to other two nodes. What happens? One node, that is the lieutenant node, this node is a faulty node. This node or faulty node or malicious node. In that case, the node will send the message to the lieutenant 1, which will be a authorized node. In that case, what will happen? The lieutenant 1 will attack or not. So as I said that the army, so as the preference of the commander, the lieutenant will attack. But what will happen? In this case, you can think that 1/3 node of the network will be the faulty node. Then how you will come to the consensus, whether you will be able to work on that. Now, second problem, that let's say that commander sends a message to, in the second scenario, lieutenant 1 and lieutenant 2. Now let's say that in this case commander is faulty. Then now let L1 receives a correct message from L2, but due to the hierarchy it has to follow the commander message. Now what will happen? How much part of the network will be faulty? So 2/3 will be faulty. Why? Because commander is faulty and lieutenant 2 is also faulty. But even lieutenant 2 got the correct message. Okay, so what will happen? Lieutenant 2 has sent the message to lieutenant 1. So that is a correct message. So in that case, 2 nodes are faulty. So what will happen? 2/3 nodes are faulty node. So how you will come to the consensus? How you will come to the consensus that whether we have to perform the certain operations or not based on the recommendation of the nodes. So this is the problem. So again, what will happen in this case? 1/3, then 2/3. So by which way we can do that? So to do that, so it seems that it is a unsolvable problem. But number of nodes as increases, it becomes easy to reach on the consensus. So let's say that if there is a 4 node, if there is a 4 node, then what will happen? So you see here, if there is a 4 node, commander sends a message. Now here V1, V1, V1. And then what will happen? The majority, let's say that lieutenant 2 will get the message V, and then again what will happen? It will get the message what? That X, and then lieutenant 1 will also send a message V. So what will happen? V, V, X. So majority will be the V. So now in that case, what will happen? Based on the majority of the V message, then it will act. Now it will come to the common consensus that we have to follow this particular message. Why? Majority is there. So similarly, if the commander is faulty, let's say that in the another scenario, commander is faulty again. If the commander is faulty, again what will happen? It will send a message, let's say that X, Y, and Z. Now what will happen? That lieutenant 1 will receive again what? That X, Y, and Z. And all the nodes will get the X, Y, Z. So in that case, what will happen? Again, you will say that every node will have the majority of the message in the form of X, Y, Z. So that means based on the X, Y, Z, you reach to the common consensus, and then you will go to perform the certain operation. So this is the way. So that means the scenario is clear that majority we have to prove that. We have to do we have to ensure that the majority of the nodes are in the favor to do this operation. So now you see that this was the traditional history. Now after that, now based on that, you can see that this is the classification of the consensus algorithm. So consensus algorithm, basically that we identified from our research and review, that consensus algorithm has categorized in a 2 part. One is a proof based and another is a vote based. Proof based has proof of work, which has another version, that is a delayed proof of work. Proof of stack, which has another version, that is delegated proof of stake. Now proof of weight, which has another 2 part, proof of capacity and proof of reputation. Now proof of burn, proof of authority, proof of importance, proof of elapsed time, proof of history, proof of quality of service, proof of trust, and proof of authentication. Now vote based, so Byzantine fault based, fault tolerance based, and crash fault tolerance based. So again, Byzantine fault tolerance has categorized in 4 type. What are that? Practical Byzantine fault tolerance, delegated Byzantine fault tolerance, ripple, scalable. Crash fault tolerance is based on the Paxos and Raft. Now, so this is a one, just that overview to which algorithm does what actually, why and when we are going to use that. Now, after this, so this picture, you see that, not going in that part in detail, we are going to do that. Here we will discuss the basically how the algorithm works, basically how algorithm works. So in proof based, basically nodes are joining the network need to provide some proof to append a new block to the network. That means proof based, how the node is going to append some new block in the network, whether every node is there, every node will do some transaction and allow to add a network block in the network. Okay, so what is the mechanism? So The thing is, reward is associated with the proof if proof has been done. So the meaning is some method is there through which you can apply the proof. If you will solve the sum problem, then you will be able to allow, or you will be able to add a new block in the fork, in the chain. A wide range of proof-based consensus algorithm has been suggested. Some popular we are going to discuss: proof of work, proof of stack, proof of weight, delegated proof of stack. So what is a mechanism? What I'm going to tell you here I'm going to tell you with the flow chart how it works basically. Okay, so with proof of work, miners compete against each other to complete the transaction on the network and get reward. So the meaning is, so multiple, that means multiple nodes are there and nodes are doing the transaction. Every node wants to add its own block to the network. In that case, what will happen? In that case, so everyone wants, so whether everyone will be allowed at the same time to add the block in the network? No. So what is that? So a decentralized ledger gathers all the transaction into block. However, care should be taken to confirm the transaction and arrange blocks. So the miner has to solve the puzzle. Which combination of hash function? Puzzle means mathematical formula. In that one, what will happen? There will be a network server which will give us some puzzle, and that puzzle will have the generation of a hash function, integer factorization, guided tour puzzle, which is basically for denial of service attack. So the first node who solve the puzzle get the mining right, and the solving puzzle generally relates to calculating, guessing the nonce value for the node nonce field. So you see here. So proof of work helps in the scenario where the node has to give a proof that some work is done while proposing a new block in the chain. So that means if you want to add the block in the network, so what you have to do, first you have to solve the puzzle. If you will solve the puzzle, then in that case you will get the right to add the block in the chain. So generally finding the nonce value is considered as solving the puzzle. So what happens here in the diagram, you can see that network server is there. What happens? It sends a puzzle to all the nodes x1, x2, x3. Everyone is trying to solve that. Now, after solving this, then it sends a solution to the network server. Now, network server check the solution. So that means x2 has done the correctly. So now what will happen? So in terms of reward coin, that will be given to the x2 person, and then that will get the right to append the block in the network. So how it works, you can see with the flow chart. Start, new block proposed. Now after that, the combine and generate hash, which will have header of the recent block, hash value, and then after that it will generate hash value. And now hash value is greater than the target value. You see from here. Now, if it is that, then solve the giving mining reward. Solved, and the network server will give the reward. Now, if no, then increment and finding nonce and retry. Again and again, you can do that one. Now, so for example, that I'll discuss only the problem. So what is a problem in the proof of work? So suffers from forking problem where more than one miner guesses the nonce value at a particular time, and each of the miner tries to broadcast its block with the found nonce. To overcome this problem, it was proposed that miner who have guessed the correct answer will keep guessing for the next nonce value to add a new block to their fork, make the fork longer. And as soon as fork becomes longer than all other forks, all the nodes will start following this longest fork. So this is you can see the example. Now, what is the problem? So huge expenditure is there. Why? Some miners may have a modern, powerful equipments to solve the puzzle. and then the finding of the nonce value is easier, while other nodes with the poorer condition may find it very difficult to and the correct the nonce value quickly. So that means might be possible some genuine node will not get the chance to execute own transactions. Okay, so in that case, if a huge if modern powerful equipment will be there, then what will happen? Then the more consumptions of the energy will be required. Okay, so in a more energy, that means in terms of energy, it will be costly. 51% attack is there. A 51% attack means a majority attack is a case when user or a group of users control the majority of the mining power. The attacker get enough power to control most event in the network. They can monopolize generating new block and receives reward since they are able to prevent other miners from completing blocks. So the meaning is some group of users who has a powerful equipment, those users will solve the puzzle and they will prevent all other users to execute their own transaction. So this is the uselessness of computation. Miners do a lot of work to generate a block and consumes a lot of power, but that will not be used in future. Now after that, see at the end of this one, all the algorithms I had made a one that is a comparison chart based on the parameters. Okay, so with the parameters you can identify the advantages and disadvantage of the all the consensus algorithm. So delayed proof of work is a security mechanism designed by the Komodo project. It is basically a modified version of the proof of work consensus algorithm that makes use of Bitcoin blockchain hash power as a way to enhance network security. By using delayed proof of work, developers are able to secure not only their own network, but also any third-party chain that ends up joining the ecosystem in the future. So security mechanism is developed and implemented into the Zcash code base, allowing zero knowledge privacy and increasing network security by leveraging Bitcoin hash rate. This is achieved by use of notary node. These nodes enable first blockchain to add data onto the second. By this, security can be ensured. So that means here, it is not like that a group of people will have only power, that the group of people will do all the things. Okay, so that problem we are going to resolve here. So at internal intervals of 10 minutes, a Komodo system takes a snapshot of its own blockchain. Then the snapshot is retained into a block on the Bitcoin network in a process called a notarization. So every time the system will monitor. So this process creates a backup of entire Komodo system, which is saved within the Bitcoin blockchain. So Komodo group elected notary nodes write a block hash from every delayed proof of work protected blockchain onto the Komodo ledger by executing a transaction on the Komodo chain. The notary nodes write a block hash from the Komodo chain onto a Bitcoin ledger. So we have so you see that these are the delayed proof of work. So notarized data, proof of work consensus, new block, notarized data, delayed proof of work, and then new block will be appended to the. So some more actually that I will not be able to complete that. So I'll come to the comparison part, which is the most important part. So you see that the criteria I'm going to tell you. The criteria is for which application which is better. So in terms of energy efficiency, proof of work is not a good solution. Modern hardware is very important here. Forking problem is there. Double spending problem is there. Creation of speed very low. Pool of mining, it is there. This is the problem there. Transactions fees for all miners here. So application Bitcoin. Proof of stack, energy efficiency. Yes, this is an energy efficient system. Modern hardware is required, no need. Now, if modern hardware is not required, no monopoly will be there. Forking problem is still there. Double spending is still there. Creation of speed, that fast. So that means the node will be, because it is not a based on the solving the mathematical puzzle. So pool mining, yeah, that is true. And the transaction fees is for all miners. So next coin is the application. So delayed proof of work, yes, energy, this is also energy efficient. And modern hardware, not necessarily that needed. Okay. Forking problem, yes, there is forking problem. Double spending, yes. Creation speed, very low. Pool mining, yes, that is also available. Transactions fees for all miners. And Komodo is there. Now, delegated proof of stack. So energy efficient, yes. Now, no need of a modern hardware. Forking problem, no. Now, double spending, yes. Creation of a speed, fast. That means creation of a block to add in the chain. Now, pool mining, yes, for all witness, not all the miners here. Not all the miners. So that means who will verify the transaction. Okay. So bits here. Now, proof of authentication. So yes, that energy efficient. So that means you see that except the proof of work, initially it was developed. Then after that, you see that rest of the consensus algorithm are energy efficient. But for some algorithm, modern hardwares are required. For some, modern hardwares are not required. So that means a special facility is not required. Now, what is going to happen? Forking problem is there. Okay. Double spending. Also, you can see that most of the algorithm has a problem of the double spending. Okay. Now, creation of the speed. You can see that majority of the algorithm has a fast. Now, pool mining, that yes, not for all. Now, that transaction fees, that is given for different that nodes and the applications. Now, here I can tell you one more thing. If you are using a, let's say that Hyperledger Fabric. So in the if you are also know that the Hyperledger Fabric is developed in the Linux environment. So in that one, pluggable framework is used as a consensus algorithm. If we are talking about the Ethereum, so proof of work is used here to work. If we are taking a R3 Corda, then again pluggable framework is there. That means it is up to you which consensus algorithm you can employ there. Ripple, probabilistic voting with a no smart contract is there. And Quorum, so majority voting, Quorum uses the majority voting consensus algorithm. It does not provide the facility of the smart contract. And Hyperledger Sawtooth. So it has also some extended version. You can say that pluggable framework where you can develop your own consensus algorithm, or you can employ other one and you can test the that application of that one. And Hyperledger Iroha, that is a chain-based Byzantine fault-tolerant consensus algorithm you will use. OpenChain. OpenChain is using a partition consensus algorithm. Settler uses the consensus protocol in a public or private network. Now, in the vote-based, just I'll discuss with a short manner that the basic concept of vote-based algorithm is to perform a voting process to get the majority of the node to agree on a particular discussion. In a blockchain network, crashing or subverting can occur. In the crashing case, nodes wait to get message by the other nodes but there may be some nodes that are not running. Then for the waiting nodes, it will not be possible to receive enough evidence to make the decision. So in the subverting case, node act strangely that produce inaccurate result. Based on these conditions, voting based algorithms are classified in two divisions. One is a Byzantine fault tolerance based and another is a crash fault tolerance based. So these are the things which I'll share you at the end of the day of this workshop. Now the comparison, this is the most important thing. So you see that criteria, practical Byzantine fault tolerant, that energy efficiency, yes. Modern hardware, no need. Forking problem, no. Double spending, impossible. Creation, speed, fast. Application, silica. DBFT, then delegated Byzantine fault delayed Byzantine fault tolerant. Energy efficiency, yes. Modern hardware, no need. Forking problem, no. Double spending, difficult. Creation speed, slow, and NEO is the application. Ripple, energy efficiency, yes, it provides an energy efficient solution. Now, not fault tolerant. Now, forking problem, no. Difficult, comparison, and then the application. So similarly, this is a comparison of vote-based algorithm. Now, this is a parametric analysis of vote-based algorithm and proof-based. So the criteria is agreement making. Majority is based on the votes. Now, proof-based nodes perform different proofs. To come on the common agreement, node can join freely. In vote-based, no. Why? Because trust is required. Who is going to vote? Proof-based, yes. Because there are different mechanisms. Number of nodes limited mostly, and proof-based mostly unlimited. Trust, vote-based less, and proof-based more. Security threat, vote-based less, and then proof-based more. Decentralization low, and the proof-based high. Node identity managed and not managed. Award no, yes. So you see that no award will be there in the vote based. So award, to get the award for a minus, only the proof based algorithms are there here. Now advantage and disadvantage here. Now algorithms, advantage, drawbacks of individual consensus. Everything is given here. Now, so issues, so security issues there in IoT. What is that? Challenge, confidentiality, integrity, availability, and user control. Blockchain solution achieved using encryption. Hashing may be used for integrity by limiting transaction, by logging a transaction. Now privacy issues, fairness. Each node treat equally. Development issue, infrastructure and architecture is a challenge. Easy to set up if blockchain is used. Legal issues, data protection and trust policy. Decentralized, hence trustable. So these are the things that I discussed. Now I'll stop here for any question. Okay, so thank you all. In the next session, we'll start from 2:30 onwards. So thank you all.
Thank you, sir.